Governor, you were the guest of Tim Russert several times.
Several times, and he always did great interviews. We had a lot of humor, tough questions, but we had a great time, and I really miss him, I have to say that. I remember when I ran for governor, he called me and he says, if you make that, if you win, then I would take care of the rest. I said, what are you talking about? And he says, I will get you to run for president. I will make sure that we change the Constitution. Well, it never happened, but anyway, I miss him very much.
Well, I can't make the same promise, but I can.
Come on, Tom, you can.
I can continue.
You have the power.
I can continue the tough questions.
Okay.
When you ran for governor in 2003, you ran as a fiscal conservative who would change the system. You would bring business-like techniques. Now you're facing a $15 million deficit here in California. Unemployment is running at about 6.8%. You've got the worst housing crisis since the Great Depression. If you were the CEO of a public company, the board would probably be saying, it's time to go.
Are you always that positive? Can't believe it. Well, first of all, let me just say that we're very happy that since I've come into office that we changed a lot of things and improved California and got California back on its feet and started paying off some of the debt and started to rebuild California for the first time in 4 decades and fixed workers' compensation and all kinds of great things happened. And the most important thing is that I was able to bring Democrats and Republicans together. Now, that doesn't mean that when you are doing a good job that the economy doesn't go down eventually. What goes up must come down, and I think that we see that nationwide. We see other states are struggling, the country is struggling, people are struggling, and I think we see it now all over the world. And I think the key thing for it is to, again, bring everyone together and to start right away with an economic stimulus package, which of course is done on a national level, but also each state has the responsibility to do that.
But when you came in, Governor, you said the spending was out of control here, and your rate of increase in spending is about the same as your predecessor, Governor Gray Davis. It's running about, 34% since you took office, upward.
Well, Tom, as you know, you've been around long enough to know that the numbers are misleading because we've paid off a lot of debt, and that is counted in the spending. So I'm very proud that we paid off a lot of the debt and that we got the economy going again, and that we also got the state jump-started in rebuilding, again, the roads, the levees, the schools, expanding our universities, building more career-tech educational facilities. And we're now in the middle of negotiating also water infrastructure so that we can secure the water and provide reliable, safe, and good water for the people of California, not 2 or 3 years from now, but 40, 50 years from now. So I think there's all kinds of great things happening. The key thing is to continue moving on and moving forward. If it is infrastructure, if it is healthcare reform, education reform, and all the things that we set out to do. And we're going to continue on. And like I said, the most important thing is that both of the parties work together to accomplish all of those things, because with just one party, you could never do it.
It appears that the people, however, have some real questions about your leadership. Your approval rating has gone from, 60% in December down to about 40% recently. It's tough to govern under those circumstances.
Not at all. I'm having a great time as governor of California, and it is a very challenging job. And I have always known that when I get into that, it will be a challenging job, but it's the most exciting job, and it also is a job that gives me the satisfaction to serve the people of California, because I think that California has given me everything that I have. If it is my bodybuilding career, my acting career, the money that I've made, everything, my family, everything is because of California. So this is a way of giving something back, and I don't shy away from the challenges, never did. And I'm very, persistent in continuing moving forward. So, it's all about leadership and bringing people together and solving those problems. That's the key thing. And California is the greatest place in the world, and we're going to keep it that way.
Let's talk national politics for a moment. Most analysts that I know say that John McCain would have a very, very hard time carrying the state in the fall. I don't think that will come as any surprise to anybody who watches politics. But you also have 19 congressional seats held by Republicans here in California. How many of them will survive?
I think that the Republicans have a good shot of keeping all their seats. I mean, it all depends on the end of what the mood of the state or the nation is at the time of the election. I think the key thing is for Washington to show that they can work together and get things done. This year, I have to say, I'm very disappointed of what has happened. There's a lack of of action in Washington. They cannot even get down the littlest things. Just recently with the tax credit for renewable energy, which started in the early 90s, and now it runs out by the end of December, by the end of this year, and they cannot even get that done. Immigration reform or the infrastructure of the United States, healthcare. There's so many issues that are so important, they can't get anything done. So I think that the people are frustrated, people are angry, because they look at that and they say, well, wait a minute, we just changed the leadership there. First there were the Republicans in, and we thought that they can't get anything done. Let's put the Democrats in power. Now they can't get anything done either. So I think that the people are angry about that, and rightfully so. So I think it depends on what the mood is. If anyone would lose a seat or two, I doubt it.
You endorsed Senator McCain as a presidential candidate, saying he was a crusader who had the best interest of the environment in mind. Now he's in favor of offshore oil drilling, and he wants to build 45 nuclear plants. Do you still stand by his record in that regard?
I'm very proud of him. I'm 100% behind him. That we don't agree on everything, that's clear, nor do I with my wife. I mean, it doesn't mean that we should split. It just means that we don't agree on certain things. I don't think that you will find that everyone agrees on everything. And he is terrific with the environment. He has been there 4 years ago and stood by my side when I talked about the environment, when I talked about fighting global warming and putting together a good energy policy and starting with the Green Building Initiative, or start building the hydrogen highway in California and the Million Solar Roof Initiative. He was there and he supported me on every step of the way. So he's the real deal when it comes to the environment. I think he has great ideas, and there's some things, like I said, I don't agree with, but there's a lot of things I do agree with. And I think that he will be a fresh breath of air in Washington when he becomes president, because we really would have, for the first time, a really strong energy agenda and a great way of fighting global warming.
Let me ask you about something that Tom Friedman has written in the New York Times about President Bush and energy policy. It was entitled Lead or Leave. He said, the president 2 years ago said, we're addicted to oil. Now he says we have a new Bush energy plan, get more addicted to it. It's hard, according to Mr. Friedman, to find words to express what a massive, fraudulent, pathetic excuse for an energy policy this is. Do you agree with him on that very harsh assessment of the president?
Well, I tell you that we have always had a good relationship with the White House and with President Bush, and there were certain things that were done very well, and we worked together very well, and there were other things where I have spoken out, where I disagreed with, which was on environmental issues. I don't dwell on the negative. The fact is that we have had a good relationship with him, and I think that it's easy to kick someone when they're down and to just be part of let's attack Bush type of thing. But I don't go for that. I think that he has done great work, and in some things that he has failed, and I think that in the end he probably knows that. The key thing is now to look forward. We in California have never paid much attention to the federal government's action when it comes to the environment because there was a lack of leadership. We moved forward very aggressively here, and we started looking into the future and really did things that were very unique for the United States, and we led the way.